What is up, guys? I'm Max, and today I have a Star Wars Battlefront video for you guys, and I just want to let you guys know I am not bashing this game in any way, shape, or form. I think it's an excellent game, but I do think it does need some improvements, as the last game had some superior concepts and that this game does not currently have. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is that the fact that this game just feels really scripted. And the old Star Wars Battlefront, it was a very big sandboxy adventure where you could just jump in a vehicle and just do whatever you wanted, and it was a really great time. But this new Star Wars Battlefront, it's very fun, but everything feels scripted, and I could definitely say with the Walker Assault game mode, it's literally exactly the same every single time because it is scripted. And if you guys don't know, the AT-ATs, the big walking robot things, are basically on rails, which means it walks the exact same path every single game. And why is this an issue? Because in the old Star Wars Battlefront games, you could actually control the AT-ATs, and in my opinion, I think this is a very big step back. And I think DICE made a lot of amateur mistakes with this game that they shouldn't have just made. I think stuff like this is just quite obvious. You should also note that this game really has this weird system of power-ups, which definitely takes the sandboxy feel out of it as well. You basically just go around the map picking up power-ups instead of going in and hopping in a vehicle, which really just doesn't make any sense. I can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to differentiate the game from Battlefield, but the system does not make any sense, and I think the old Star Wars Battlefront did it a million times better. Being able to jump in your own vehicle and being able to hop out instantly is just so much better. Now, another game mode that I think they really need to improve on, DICE, is that the hero assault mode in this game, or hero versus villain, whatever it's called, really needs some work, because it just doesn't make sense. A lot of the things that they did in this game just doesn't make sense. Why the decisions that they made, really, they could have just done everything better. Now, in the new hero versus villain assault mode, there's basically only 12 players on each team. Now, why is this an issue? Because in the old Star Wars Battlefront, there was a lot more players, and you could have a lot of Jedi and heroes and villains on the field at once, and it worked very fluently. Now, in the new Star Wars Battlefront, they only have 6 heroes and villains total, whereas in the old Star Wars Battlefront, there was a lot more, probably around 10 to 15 heroes and villains that came with the game. And this just doesn't make sense. I know they could have made more, but the issue is they want to release these heroes and villains as DLC, and that's one of the big problems of the gaming industry today, is that all these developers are trying to make a couple bucks just off of, just taking gameplay out of the game and releasing it later as DLC and ripping off the consumer. And which, by the way, takes a huge toll on the hero versus villains gameplay as a whole, because now there's only 6 villains total. So what are you supposed to do? 3 versus 3 on each team? No, that's boring. So what DICE did is they added more players, but they would only play as regular humans, not heroes or villains. They would just be a regular rebel or Empire soldier. And this just doesn't make any sense, like, gameplay wise, because they could have done a massive Jedi war battle in just a single map, and it would have been so much fun, just like in the old Star Wars Battlefront. And instead they decided to make so few villains that they have to compromise for their shortcomings in this game mode, and it's really taking a toll on the game. And another problem that I have with the heroes and villains is that the combat is just, it is actually really good, actually, I'm not gonna lie. The combat is really refined and it just feels good. But I really miss the old combat from the old Star Wars Battlefront, where the Jedis could just fly across the map, running extremely fast, and they could just jump in the air very high and do all these crazy lightsaber tricks, and you just felt like a superhuman in that game. And now I just don't feel like that in the new Star Wars Battlefront. And I think that the combat as well is just really, the skill gap has just been completely removed in both the gunfights between Siths and humans and Jedis, and really just anywhere in the game actually. But I think in the Jedi versus Sith action, it's been removed the most, because you're just gonna be pressing the special hotkeys to be using your special abilities, which is, you know, you're just really mashing buttons at that point, and it's really just not even that special. And I think in the old Star Wars Battlefront 2, when you had the soldier to Jedi combat, where you would fight a Jedi with soldier, you could actually take out a Jedi if you were good enough all by yourself. And now I feel like you can't really do that, because the Jedis are just so overpowered in this game. They're not really overpowered, because I think that everyone does want to play as the Jedi as long as possible, and if they took that out where a single soldier could take him out, then it would be a little bit annoying, because everyone wants to play as the Jedi. But I really do miss that feeling from the old Star Wars Battlefront, where you could take a Jedi or a Sith out all by yourself. And there was a pretty big skill gap in the earlier game, especially online, for anyone who didn't play online Star Wars Battlefront, because I know that online wasn't really that big back then. There was actually some competitive multiplayer there, and it was pretty enjoyable. A lot of people don't know that about Star Wars Battlefront because they never play it online. So another big thing that I want to talk about is the lack of space battles and the Clone Wars. First, starting off with space battles. So now they've replaced this game mode with a new game mode called Fighter Squadron, which is pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. They did a lot of things in this game is really fun. I just think they could do a lot better with it compared to the old Star Wars Battlefront, because it was so ambitious. And now, in the new Fighter Squadron game mode, you're just simply fighting ships and shooting ships. That's all you're doing. And I really think that in space battles, they just need to have some kind of infiltration where you can infiltrate an enemy base, because that is what everyone liked about space battles. I don't think anyone actually cared about the flying part that much. Everyone just liked to go and infiltrate their base. That was the funnest part about it, and now that's completely missing. And as well as space battles missing, they have no Clone Wars, which will probably in the end be released as DLC. And you see what I'm getting at, guys? They're releasing stuff later on as DLC. They could release space battles later on as DLC. They could release all of this stuff that was in the original Battlefront game later on as DLC. This is why I am so opposed to this thing called DLC, because really it makes it seem like you're getting more content from the game, but really they're just stripping the game of its content, giving it to you later to make a couple extra bucks, and it just really is ripping off the consumer in the end, like I said earlier. So overall, I do think that DICE did a pretty excellent job with this game. I think it's probably lacking a little bit of content compared to the old Star Wars Battlefront. I mean, it doesn't really have a campaign, and they try to compensate for that by adding 5 single-player missions that probably took me in total of 20 minutes to do. So they could have done better on that. I mean, it really wouldn't have been that hard to make at least a couple hours of single-player campaign. Everyone's played a Star Wars campaign or watched a Star Wars movie, but I mean, it's always fun to play through that, and it makes the game just have a lot more content. And I really do think that this game is kind of being stripped away from its content because this DLC plan that DICE has, and a lot of other developers do, not just DICE. So yes, I do think that the old Star Wars Battlefront is a better game, but I think that this game has tons of potential to be even better than the old Star Wars Battlefront. I just think that they could probably change some things up with the vehicles, add more content for free because there is no single player campaign. There's clearly not enough heroes. They need to do something about that. There simply isn't enough content in this game, but I will say this is a pretty quality packed game. So in the end, if they do add more content, I would gladly say that this game is a better game. But they're asking us to pay extra money for more content that's not even going to be out yet for a couple months. That I simply don't agree with that plan, and I do definitely think they need to add more content in this game for it to be a great game. So let me know what you guys thought of this video. I haven't done a commentary in a while. This is kind of a review video. But if you guys did enjoy, I hope you liked it. If you wanted to subscribe, do anything like that, go ahead and do it. I always appreciate your guys' support, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. See you guys later. I'm out.